think that it inspired a lot of people, especially the ones that I was sitting around, because, you know, you watch that video and how gruesome and how angry it made me watching that video. And, you know, this is Charlie's wife. And she was able to actually go up on stage and say in front of millions of people that she forgives him. I mean, the power that's behind that, it's something that we'll remember for a long time.
So backstage, Erika was leaving. It was wild to tell you the importance of this moment for Erika. And first off, I mean, I said this during the break, but I think that speech ranks among the top 3 most powerful speeches ever given in modern history, without question. Not only that, but she in that moment ceased to be Erika Kirk. She became something spiritual. She also did it standing right here before this chair.
It was right where you're sitting.
And I'm not sure I'd even call that a speech. I think I'd call that like a wife's private eulogy that she was able to share with all of us because of how important Charlie was to the world. That was like less of a speech and more of like God speaking through her. Again, I've known Erika and Charlie for a long time. I was at the wedding. We were all at their wedding. Like, I emceed their wedding. That wasn't Erika. Like, Erika's incredible. That was like something spiritual. Like, it was God physically moving through her and speaking through her. Because humanly, you can't forgive a monster like that. Humanly, you can't do that.
And after it happened, it was really beautiful. People brought this up right away. Let's put up pick number 7. This is a tweet Charlie did all the way back in 2014. He was, you know, to be a Christian means to forgive the inexcusable because God has forgiven the inexcusable in you. And
she shared Christ. She shared Christ. That was probably the most Christ-like thing that happened. A lot of people talked about Christ. The Secretary of War talked about Christ, right? Very interesting.
Don Jr. talked about Christ.
Yeah, that's something. And dank memes, which is a first. But that was the most Christ-like thing that happened on stage. I think everyone will agree with that. Of course, the forgiveness of the unforgivable, right? And Erika shared Christ to one of the largest audiences maybe ever gathered and did the most Christ-like thing. And that, again, the most apostolic event in human history was that. And I think that if you will allow me, a lot of people are saying, well, how dare Trump saunter on stage afterwards and say, no, I hate my enemies. I'm going to kill my enemies. Like, I hate them. I want them to burn. Right? Because Trump went on and did that, right? In his own way, Trump bravado and said, oh, I hate my enemies. I don't know how Erika can do that. I want to take an opportunity to just say, from a Christian perspective, and look at this from a biblical perspective. Because what was demonstrated in both those speeches, represented by obviously Erika, but then represented by Stephen Miller, did a great job at this. Donald Trump did a great job of this. Secretary of War did a great job of this, is the personification of Romans 13. Romans 13, the Apostle Paul, who's very familiar with martyrdom, was there at the martyrdom of Stephen, that actually brought him to Christ, writes about a properly instituted government set up by God, and that the government is there to institute safety and security for the good and moral people of the nations, that God has set up the leaders of our land in order to do that. And so God set up Trump and his administration to allow for security and family flourishing and for the prospering of good and moral people, and that God gives the sword to the leaders of our principalities in order to enact, these are the exact words, terror within evil men. To bring terror upon evil men. And that was what the Trump administration represented. That is pure Christian doctrine. That is fundamental Christian doctrine about the establishment of the government so that the good may flourish. Now, on a personal level, what Erika showed was what we must do in our hearts in order to absolve ourselves and to follow in the Christ-like method of forgiveness in order to ensure that we are unburdened, actually, by evil. Evil happens to us. We must unburden ourselves by following through with the power of Christ. Erika shows that perfectly, balanced, absolutely in perfect harmony by President Trump and his administration, saying that it is now incumbent upon us, the rulers of this land, to institute justice. We do not have to forgive. We must enact justice, swift and severe justice upon evil men so that they are in terror And that is perfectly, fundamentally harmonious in the Christian worldview.
Yeah, Ali Stuckey actually said something that and she's actually going to be hosting the show with me tomorrow, so that's exciting. But she said there's a big contrast between Erika's forgiveness speech and Stephen Miller's destroy our enemies speech, and that was in quote. I don't think I can't remember
He said,
exactly.
"We are the storm."
Yeah,
we are the storm. Did you help him write that play?
Yeah, right.
We are the storm.
But she did it in quotes. I mean, I don't think she meant any disrespect to Stephen. It was just the tone was distinct.
Tone was Stephen Miller.
She says, exactly as it should be. It is our job to forgive, not the government's. Christians give grace. The government wields the sword. Romans 13. We turn the other cheek. The government punishes evil.
Yes.
And I mean, you saw that in very, very vivid detail on that stage yesterday, because to your point, personally, that was an inexcusable evil that has been perpetrated against the world, certainly, but against Erika specifically.
Yes.
And she unburdened herself. She said, I will not live with this hate. I will not live with this thing in my spirit. I am going to forgive as Christ forgave me, because I will not let it get in the way of me being with Charlie in heaven. And I will not let it get in the way of me running Turning Point USA and being the new leader of this movement. And I just commend her for that, because yes, even when I heard that, I felt my flesh like crawling, because I didn't want her to forgive. I wanted her to like get that fierce look in her eyes, that she has, which is just amazing, by the way. And I wanted her to look right in the camera and be like, we are going, give me one of the bullets because Utah still has, what is it?
Firing squad.
Firing squad. Mm-hmm. Give her one of the bullets and let her shoot him right in the, whatever. Anyways, the point is, I wanted that. My flesh wanted that. But my spirit knew that the power you talked about, if you don't give people a way to grieve in this positive way, in a way that uplifts Jesus, then it can turn dark. And what she did is she took all of that energy and she flipped it on Satan's head and said, you are not going to win this one. We are going to choose Christ, and God's love will be unleashed on this country.
Can we talk for just a moment about how this is how you begin? This is how civil wars and sectarian violence actually spirals into that failed state. You have these moments of political violence. You don't give anyone the capacity to grieve. There is no justice. There is no shooter found. No one is brought to justice. No greater terrorist network is brought down. I talked a lot with Kash Patel and Dan Bongino yesterday. I'd love to share that on the show. Yeah. I know we're up against a break. But just another massive shout out to the team at Turning Point and the team at the Charlie Kirk Show and Charlie's core here at giving the country an ability to grieve in a peaceful and in a productive way. Because what happened there yesterday was people saw that this isn't just pain and loss that can carve a hole in your heart and make you into a dark person. This is something that can be uplifting, actually, and can bring the movement forward and can consolidate a movement. And that's healing for a nation.